All right, hello. My name's Rusty Coones, and I have Jack Wise with me, the national president of the Fire Hogs MC. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing great. Probably better than I deserve, man. How about yourself, Rusty?
I think the same thing, man. I don't deserve what I got going on either. But look, man, I've heard a lot of great things about you guys over the years, and I want to illuminate the public. Let's talk about some of the cool stuff you've had going on. But before we get into that, tell me about when you were a kid, when you first got on two wheels of any kind, mini bikes, whatever.
Wow, that's going way back. You got to remember my age, man. But we'll see what we can do here. So I've always had bikes. I remember my dad had to pull start the mini bike that it was called a Scat Kitty, and I think I was about 5, maybe 6 years old. I couldn't even start the thing, and I would get on that thing and plow up and down the street. Uh, got brought home a couple times to my parents because back in those days you could ride and go and nobody cared. And I remember getting escorted home a couple times. They would talk to my dad about letting their kid ride up and down the street on this little mini bike. I
You
was
know,
just a
that's
youngster.
that's funny. That reminds me. I don't want to interrupt, but I got to say this because it's kind of funny. I was riding a little mini bike when I was like 7 or something. I went way downtown, about a mile from the house, and a cop gets me, and he asked me for my driver's license, and so so he was joking around kind of, but I thought he was serious. So when my parents showed up, my dad says, "Okay, son, come on, let's load this thing up in the truck." And I said, "Hey, Dad, what's wrong with that guy? He asked me if I had a driver's license. He knows I'm not old enough to drive." You know, like a little kid, you just take it that way. But
Oh
go on, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go on.
No, 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 no. That's okay. I remember, them taking me back. My dad was named Jack also, and they were on a first name basis by that time, and saying, "Jack, you can't let your kid ride in the street. Take him out in the hills." So, it progressed up to then and dirt bikes and all that other stuff. And oh man, I tell you what, I lived in an age where it was really nice. You could go out in the hills and you could ride all you wanted, and right in my backyard. It was so nice. Nowadays they don't have those same opportunities, and that's
Yeah, I
that's
know.
really a tragedy, man.
What area were you in when you were growing up like that?
I lived out in Thousand Oaks, and it was developing back then. There
Oh
was a
yeah,
lot of homes being built, and I tell you what, some of the funniest times I had is how they would cut those deckings for the houses up the hillsides. Well, we used to ride those things, man, and you could take and you go flying off of one and off the other and off the other. It was the greatest riding, right in your backyard. You do it before school, and you come home after school. And that's where everybody met out in the fields. So
yeah. The other
I
good
really
thing
enjoyed
is
it.
those are skills that you bring with you when you get on the street, riding on the dirt, doing all that stuff. It's
Well,
like some of the guys, they don't got that luxury, man, and they have to learn the hard way on the street about what it feels like to get crossed up, in sand and gravel and stuff like that, and they have to pay the hard way sometimes.
well, yeah, and you probably can relate to this. Probably the most dangerous thing that you hear is, "Hey, I've never ridden before. I'm going to go buy a Harley."
Yeah,
And not to say the guys can't do it, but there's a learning curve. There really is, just like you say. And I tell you what, that street smart or that dirt smart carried over to my years on the street, and certainly they progressed. Getting dirt bikes and then street bikes and moving on through that. I mean, you know how it is. You were brought up in that mentality, and always had to. I had dirt bikes, street bikes before I had a car. For Christ's sake.
yeah. Okay, so tell me about when you got up around high school or in that era, a little later or whatever. What were the next bikes you had?
Well, and I got to tell you, it was back in the early, late '60s, early '70s that my sister was 6 years older than me, and she hung out with a little bit of rougher crowd, and they got me into the choppers per se. So I got in. I was a teenager, and I had some mechanic skills with me. And back then, it was all hardtails and stuff. So I had a 1956 BSA that we put on a hardtail, and I remember raking the front end because everything wanted to be raked, right? And what you did is you took an inch and a half off the yoke of the frame, cut it off with a not a skill saw, but a sawzall, and then I heated up the forks, put a broom handle in the yoke, and pulled it back, and then we welded it back up, and that's how you got your rake back then. I
I remember
remember,
those days. There was a
yeah,
bunch
I
of
get,
those running around.
oh yeah, I had my sissy bar I made from scratch. I took a half-inch steel bar, I heated it up and I twisted it and then formed it and put it back there. Oh man, that was good times. But I tell you what, it was tough. It was tough ride, man, especially the roads back then. That hardtail, man, it killed you. I
Yeah.
can't even think about that now. But then I had a 1962 Triumph, and I wish I would have saved that thing. It had a little distributor on the side. Do you remember back then the Triumphs? They had a little distributor, only had 2 points on it. And I
Uh-huh.
thought, oh man, we gotta fix that. And I changed it out. If I would have had that thing, it would be worth a fortune right now.
Was that like the 650 or the 750? Yeah,
It
those
was
were
a
real
650.
popular.
Yeah, it was a 650, and that was awesome, man. And of course, I put on a hardtail and I did all that stuff. But yeah, back then it was the rat bikes. People, all my friends were driving the 750 Hondas, because those things, the Kawasaki's and the Honda 750 was the thing, man. And here I am on this rat
Yeah.
bike and following them and going every place. And they hated following me because those things leaked oil so bad. I mean, I had to put a bigger
Yeah.
oil thing on it because it leaked so bad.
Back in, I think 68, right in there is when that Honda 750 came out, the inline four, and it had 63 horsepower, and everybody thought it was just the shit. And for the time, maybe it was. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I mean, now it's a joke, but it was fast as heck for then.
oh yeah. I can't tell you how fast those things were. My buddies would tease me because here I am on this, kickstart thing, and it kick it, and it had the Wentworth parts and all that other stuff you had to try to find pieces for. And they'd get on it and go, vroom. I'm out there,
Yeah.
pumping it, priming it, pumping it, kicking it, and it fire back at you. Oh my God. But that was good times. That's
It
that's how
was.
you learn to ride right there, man.
Let me tell you another funny one. So I'm about 19 years old. I got a 1941 knucklehead,
Oh,
and it came as a 61 EL, but it had the FL wheels in it, and I thought it was a hot rod. I had straight pipes on it and everything. So I'm putting a B grind Andrews cam in it, which was supposed to be really something else, right? But I'm working with a lawnmower engine right there. You know what I mean? But it sounded like a dragster. So I put the cam in, and this buddy of mine, Panhead George, his little brother Richard, was there watching me, and he had a 450 Honda. And I got the cam in. I didn't have a speedo. I didn't even have a front brake, and I had a mechanical rear brake. And I said, "Hey, I said, Richard, why don't you ride beside me when I shift and tell me what speeds I'm at when I shift?" He says, "Oh, okay, no problem." And he's riding beside me, and I'm going full throttle through every gear, shifting, and he's right beside me, just like smiling. And at the end of the thing, I said, "It's a 450." You know what I mean? And mine was what, 1200. And it was a dose of reality. I said, "Were you going full throttle?" He said, "No." I said, "Were you even close?" He said, "Well, kinda. I mean, just the
he was being
performance.
kind.
It's unbelievable difference in performance. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but my first big bikes, because I had like the 90s and the 125s, and my first big bike was a Yamaha 360 two-stroke. Man, that thing, oh, it was awesome. And then I graduated to the Honda, 600, the one lunger. Oh my God, what a POS that was. It was tough riding it. And then, I was riding those bikes while I was still doing my hardtails and things like that because I still like riding the dirt. But oh man, it was good times. We used to go up back in those days. Sturgis was going on, but it was in its, I guess, not infancy, but it was getting big. But where we
Yeah.
used to go is up to Kern River, the Kern River
Yeah.
run, every Memorial Day and Labor Day, and it was packed with thousands of bikes. I mean, you couldn't, from Johnsondale all the way down to Kernville. It was
Yeah.
packed. We'd go out there, and I was out there with my sister's, boyfriend and soon to be husband, and all his gang. And I was a little kid out there, the hang around more or less. And here I had this rat bike that was leaking oil and no suspension.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Fresno River Run was annually back then, and I went to that a couple of years. I think 74 or 75 or six. I went a couple. What a
Yeah.
blast, man! And back then,
Oh,
nobody even hotel wasn't even your vocabulary. I mean, we all were camping out. Everybody rode. Everybody got there, partied till they fell down somewhere, and you'd be walking. It was pitch black everywhere except around the campfire, and you'd be stepping on people, that just went to sleep wherever they passed out or whatever. It was a good time, man.
Yeah, I can't overstate how much fun it was. I mean, I've got memories of this gal named Crazy Kathy. She actually fell asleep on an anthill, woke up in the middle of the night screaming. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. I
Uh,
saw a bunch of bikers. They're taking a 5-gallon jerry can and they decide to stoke the fire. And he takes it, throws it like this, right? It's going to throw some extra gas on it. Well, it comes back, comes in the can, and now the can's on fire, the ground's on fire. He throws it. I mean, it's just you would watch it on TikTok right now, is what you do. But yeah, crazy stuff. People along
yeah,
the river, nobody wore clothes, and everybody swimming out in the river. It was just a great old time, and nobody got hurt, nobody got killed. Well,
yeah,
maybe some people
yeah,
got killed on the road, but no big
yeah.
fights, nothing. It was just it was like Woodstock of the river.
It was great, man. I remember everything ended up in the campfire.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
People rolling through it, fighting and wrestling, and everything got, chopped up and threw in there. The next day, people are getting in trouble for chopping down trees that are not supposed to, and just on and on. It was good time. But let's move on to when you got your first Harley, like before you got into the club.
Yeah, well, actually, it was almost simultaneous. Well, a little bit before. See, you start raising a family and stuff like that, and realize that a hardtail is not a way to go. My girlfriend and wife wanted to ride at the time, so uh, wanted to get her a bike because those hardtails, man, I had a big banana seat on that thing, and it was a kitty puncher the whole way. So, started getting kids and decided we need to find something safer. So I bought a Dyna Wide Glide and started riding that. And shortly thereafter, heard about the Fire Hogs and joined them. In 1991, they were established. They're actually the oldest firefighting motorcycle club in the nation. A few
Wow.
months before Wind and Fire, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and joined them, got my Dyna Wide Glide, and then shortly thereafter started going to the baggers. And it's kind of funny because I had done that hardtail stuff and all that rat bike and everything else, and everybody's in the no fairings and all that. And I said, I want a fairing, I want music, we're doing these long
Yeah.
rides. I want comfort, and I want my old lady to be comfortable in the back. So my first bagger was a classic, and that was nice, and everybody
Ultra
was
classic.
laughing at me. What's that?
Yeah. Ultra classic.
No, it was just a classic. It wasn't even the ultra. It was
Oh,
the
really? Like a
first one.
shovel or something?
No, no, no. It was
Evo?
yeah, but it wasn't called the Ultra. It was just the classic. It had no bells and whistles,
Oh,
basically.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't have it had a radio, but that was about it, and a fairing, and it looked like the Ultra, but it didn't have all that other stuff on
Yeah.
it. And so I got that, and everybody was laughing at me. You're driving a bagger. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now look who's laughing. Everybody drives baggers. You know.
Everybody. We used to, I know everybody made fun of you. That when I got in the 90s, I got a second bike that was a bagger, FXRT,
Okay.
and people said, "Oh, you got a couch now to ride on." But the bike was superior as hell, man. You know what I mean? It's like I'm telling you right now, the faster you ride, the more you want to have the bags, the fairing, the wind coverage, because the stress from the wind wears you out, man, big time. And the vibration wears you out. But the faster you go, the more that air is pushing against you. Kind of like when you push against a spring, it fights back more. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
so I don't even want to ride a bike without a fairing anymore.
Well, I hear you, man. At my age, I'm 66 years old and been riding for a long time. And who says age doesn't account for something? You learn eventually. And I
Yeah.
tell you what, that windshield allows me to ride cross country, no problem. I can put in 1,000 miles a day. My wife is at 61 years old. We did 1,000 miles. She's an iron butt,
That's
man,
a
and she
hard
loves
day.
riding.
I've done that before. That is hard. Real
Uh,
hard.
Especially we've been drinking all night and hung over, and we were gonna go every 150 miles. Like, okay, do you want to stop? Do you want to stop? No, no, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And turned out we ran over 1,000 miles that day.
Were you coming back from Sturgis by chance?
We were, yes.
That's where I've done that because you want to get back, and you leave and you just keep going and going and going, and
Well,
but I go too far sometimes. I get to where I'm nodding out and I start hitting those bumps and stuff. That's bad. You know what
well,
I mean?
I'll tell you the story about me sleeping on the road in just a second, but it was kind of funny because we're coming back from Sturgis. You know how Sturgis is just a big party, and we had been there with a bunch of our fire hogs, and just it was crazy times, good times. And we decided, hey, we're going to go visit our friends who live in Idaho out there by uh, Jackson Hole. And they said, come on by. No, they're 6 years our senior. And we figured, oh, we're going to have a nice, easy night. Oh my God. We got to get up in the morning because we want to make tracks. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, they brought out the Patron. And
Huh.
needless to say, the next morning we still got to get up at 8 o'clock. And that's when we ended up riding 1,000 miles. And it was an interesting ride to say the least, but I'm really glad. My wife had never seen, as you come out of Utah, those red rocks and
Oh yeah,
the cliffs,
yeah. You
and
go through that place with the curves, and it's like on both
oh,
sides of you coming away. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
and the sun was setting, and it was
Oh
so
yeah.
beautiful because I knew if we would have spent the night, the next morning we would have seen that. But it looked like the hills were on fire. It was so she was so thankful that we did that. It was really nice. I really wanted to give that to her, so I sacrificed myself a little.
So tell me, did you stop at Vegas on the way back, or did
Of
you
course,
bypass it?
no. Actually, we usually stop in Mesquite is where
Mesquite?
we stop. Yeah,
Yeah,
to stay out of that craziness in
yeah,
Las Vegas. So we stay at Mesquite, and they got cheap rooms there, a nice pool, cold
yeah.
beer,
I've
and
done that a few times. Yeah.
yeah, that's
But,
a that's a good ride there. We usually try to hit Mesquite because Vegas is just either a little bit too long coming the other way or a little bit too short going the other way.
I
So
know. Well, let's move on into your club, man. I really got a lot of respect for what you guys are doing. You know what I mean? I'll tell you what, if I was on the side of the highway, broke down or had an accident, and I saw you guys rolling up, I'd be real happy because you got EMTs, you got all the people with all the training. You know what I'm saying?
well, that brings up a lot of stories, man. Every time you start talking like this, I can tell you stories of when we did do that and did help out some bikers and
Give me
all
a
that.
give me a good one. Give me a colorful, good story right now.
Well, Colorado, they have an annual IAFF memorial for firefighters, and bikers from all over the country come there, and all over the all over the world. Quite honestly, it's an International Firefighters Memorial. It's huge, and they put fallen firefighters on the what they call the wall, the big ceremony and all that other stuff. Well, we're riding there. We decided to take the back road the day before. And we're taking this beautiful back road country, and it's just awesome. There was, I think, 10 of us fire hogs there, and we're going through, and all of a sudden these crotch rockets come hauling us through, hauling us. We're going, whoa, whoa, I mean, bordering the line, coming over on the other side of the
I
line.
can already tell where this is going.
Oh yeah, and we're going, oh geez, okay. And everybody's slowing down, and I'm leading, and all of a sudden come around the corner, and here's a guy that is sprawled out on the road. He's on a fat boy trying to keep up with his bros on the crotch rockets.
Uh,
And he came across, hit the railing on the opposite side of the road, wrapped around that, spun off of that. He had a compound fracture on his tib fib. He was hurting all over. I think he had a fractured hip too. And we're stopped, and we're on the middle of BFE, right? And there's nobody around. So I tell one of the guys, get up there, slow down traffic because it was Wandy Road. So we had two guys up there slowing down traffic, had the old lady go down the road a ways, stop traffic coming up. And now we're treating him. And we got medics, and we're trying to look at his leg and trying to get in alignment. We're not trying to set it by any means. We're just position of comfort. We have no meds or anything like that. We're dealing with this guy. And, everybody's coming up and wanting to help. We're like, no, we got it. We're firefighters, we're paramedics and all that. And they take off, no problem. So now the first guy shows up in the ambulance, and he's dressed like, you are right there. He's got a t-shirt on, a hat, and good old boy. He shows up in Levi's, and he shows up and he starts trying to take control. And I come up to him. I go, okay, this is what we got. We got this, tip, fib brake, blah, blah, blah. We got immobilized. We need C-spike precautions. We got this, that. And he goes, What are you guys? And I go, well, we're firefighters and paramedics. He goes, okay, I'm just going to open up the rig. You guys take whatever you need. so, so
You
I
did all
tell
the work for the guy.
him, yeah, because he was an EMT and probably seen a couple of wrecks, not a lot of
Sure.
stuff. I mean, for us, uh, we're in the trenches down there, city of Los Angeles. It's some tough work.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of stuff. Anyway, so we're doing that. I say, hey, you need to call for a paramedic ambulance, or we need to get air flight them out of here. I said, ask my guys, hey, go up, find us a place where we can land this helicopter. They come back and said, the only place on the road. Okay, shut it down, yada, yada, yada. So now the paramedics show up another 15, 20 minutes later, and we start telling them, they're going, okay, what do you need us to help you with? So it was pretty cool that they acquiesced to us, knowing that we had a higher level of probably experience. And the guy got transported out of there and all that. But that was pretty cool of us doing that. And we've had tons of those things. I mean, we this last ride to New York in 20 for the 20th anniversary, I took 43 motorcycles across country. We did that for the 1 year anniversary of 9/11. We did it for the 10 year, and recently we did it for the 20 year. We took 43 motorcycles out, and one of the guys that rode with us on the 1 year anniversary missed the 10 year, but he's on the 20 year with us. We were just getting up to the Holland Tunnel. It had been misting a little bit. He comes around the corner and hits a rail. We think he grabbed his front brake because the guy behind him said all he saw the bike just go like this, just swish out from under him. And he did one of these. He broke
Man.
his collarbone and some other stuff, but we were able to treat him there. But we shut down the Holland Tunnel for Christ's sake to do that.
Hey, while we're talking about riding in the pack and stuff, do you guys do the staggered formation, or do you do side by side, or both?
No, we don't do boot. We don't do boot to boot. We
Yeah,
have all different levels, and so we do the staggered. I'd like to keep it tight, especially when you're going cross country. You don't want to leave enough room for cars to
yeah,
come in and mess with you, especially when you're reading 43 bikes.
sure.
Uh, when we're going through canyons, then we go single formation and stuff. Our guys
Right.
we school them on how to ride. That we just don't do boot to boot. There's not.
You know what? I
There's a
agree
few
with
guys.
you. I'm
Yeah, there's
100% with you on that.
yeah, there's a few guys
Faster you
I
go.
yeah, there's a few guys I'd ride boot to boot with, but for the most part, no. And we always tell guys, hey, if you can't keep up with the pack, bump back, because there's nothing worse being in the lead, looking back and seeing a
Yeah,
guy, 300 yards behind you, and he's holding up the rest of the pack. So just
yeah,
bump back and move up. So yeah, we have protocols, and we make sure our guys understand the protocols, not only riding uh, in a group, but also riding around other groups. That's really important.
yeah, yeah. Really.
Respect.
Yeah, I remember I was on the freeway one time in Arizona, and I had a guy. He was behind me in a pack. I mean, 2 feet from my fender the whole time he was drafting me. And you can actually save up to 20% fuel mileage, just like in the race cars. And I'm looking at him in my mirror all the time and think, gosh, damn, I hope nothing happens where we have to stop fast. I come over a hill where there's radar, and I
Oh,
let off my throttle. I didn't even hit the brake, and the guy drove right up. I had one of these bikes with a swoopy, real low rear fender. He drove his front tire right up on my fender.
oh,
He's on there, and I'm watching him like back and forth with the handlebars, and then he goes down and he does boom boom ba boom ba boom, and
oh,
we have headsets on. I can hear the guy. He's going ooh ooh. When he stopped, he was knocked out, but he had a compound fracture in his leg, and I just in my personal experience, I've been hit 3 times from people behind me in the last probably 20 years.
wow.
Because people want to ride too close. I firmly believe in the staggered pattern. The higher the speed, the more distance.
Right.
The staggered pattern gives you twice the distance right off the bat.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what I mean by this, I like it tight. I don't like it too far behind that where people can come in and all that other
Right.
stuff.
You don't want that because that's unsafe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what I always tell our folks is that look, if you're uncomfortable riding, bump to the back. Not a
Yeah.
problem with that.
Yeah.
And we usually go along at a pretty good clip. I always ask people how fast you want to go, and I usually bump it up 5 miles an hour. But
Yeah. I mean, what I do is I'll ask the slowest guy, the newest, slowest guy, how fast are you safe at?
yeah,
Because it's like a whip effect.
without a doubt.
accelerating, slowing down, everything's faster for the guy in the back. So
Right.
you don't want to ride like a banshee and have this guy dying in the back because he couldn't make the turn or he couldn't stop in time. You know what I mean? But that
Yeah.
stuff happens all the time. You know.
Well, I got to tell you, when we go back to New York, we usually set up places along the way. You know, when you the logistics is, you know, like moving an army of 43 bikes. And I got to tell you, most towns that we went into, our folks set it up to where either the fire department or the police department comes in and escorts us in and escorts us out. They really just roll out the red carpet for us wherever we go, which is really nice. We were able to raise some money for our for the FDNY, their relief association, this last time, and we do it every year. And speaking of that, you know, we have our annual memorial rides that each chapter does, and it benefits our widows, orphans, disabled firefighting fund.
You guys been doing that for a while, right? The memorial.
Yes, we have. We've been you know, 20 plus years now, and we've raised over $700,000 just for our run, our 1 day run, which usually
Wow.
generates about $40,000 for that 1 day, uh, to our widows, orphans, and disabled firefighting fund. Now, every chapter does their own. But we by far have been around the longest. So that's how come we've generated so much money. But each one of them, they do a lot of good stuff, man. And we support things like that. We go to, like I said, we have our rides. We support the vet rides. We go all over the place. The burn rides, we do that. We lead off the Hollywood Christmas parade. You never see us because they don't want bikes going over the red carpet. But we throw out thousands of toys. We go down to the St. Patrick's Day parade down in San Diego, and we throw out thousands of snakes. How appropriate, snake toys to all the kids, and dress up the bikes, and it's a fun thing. I mean, we really enjoy it. We were like riding, and you know, our motto is live to ride and ride to give.
Right
So
on. That's a good one. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. And we've been doing it for, you know, quite a few years now, since '91, and it's really established. I can't thank you know, Russ Brown and some of the other sponsors that we have that have been so instrumental in us getting the word out and helping us out, and some of our other sponsors. Please go to firehogs.org, www.firehogs.org, to see what we're up to. And all of our rides are open to everybody. We encourage anybody that wants to ride, and even our events are open to those that don't ride. Come on out and enjoy the festivities. We have raffle prizes. Some of the awards that the prizes that we give out are just phenomenal. We've got a guy named Jim Vels, who's we call him Von Vels. That's his nickname. And this guy does some painting that you wouldn't believe. He'll paint anything. We have fire hydrants that he paints, fire helmets that are all custom flames and ghost flames. And oh my God.
Like a Von Dutch type guy.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
why he's called Von Vels. He's Von Dutch.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah,
right
yeah.
on. I love that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got some good grand marshals. I mean, in the past we've had Frankie Loyal, who is from
Oh,
the
Frankie, he's
Mayans.
a buddy of mine. I love Frankie.
You
Yeah.
got to come to the ride, man. Come on out.
I'm gonna do that. I
Okay.
will do that. It sounds like a lot of fun, man. I dig it. You know.
He always comes with his pack, and I don't know if you listen to Frank Kramer from Heidi and Frank in the Morning KLOS. He's the other grand marshal that we have. Um,
Not too much on the radio.
yeah,
Yeah.
on the radio, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, so yeah, we do a lot of good things, man, and most importantly, we like to give back, and that's kind of what our motto is.
Yeah.
You know, all of our people work without any salaries. Of course, it's all volunteers. It's our club is made up of active and retired firefighters, and of course, the wives are really the nucleus of this whole thing, as we all
I'll
know.
bet she holds it all together, probably, right? Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Well, what else? We're going to wrap it up pretty quick. Is there anything else that you want to mention? Any thanks to anybody, or any of your charities, or any that we haven't talked about already?
Well, just if you can go to firehogs.org and look and see what the events we got coming up. We've got a lot of rides, all of our chapters. Again, we're a national club, and all of our chapters put on an events. So look at that. Look at our schedule of events. Please come on out, donate. Uh, we have a lot of charities. Each chapter has their own charity that they support. Ours is our Los Angeles Firefighters, Widows, Orphans, and Disabled Firefighters Fund. Our
Mhm.
ceremonies that we do, we have the bagpipers that come out. We do the 10 bells, and for those that aren't familiar with that, firefighters' life revolves around bells, and we have the 10 bells. It's very sacred ceremony that we do, and we have the survivors there, and we honor them, and then we do the ride and raffle and auction. All goes to them, and like I said, it's our sponsors. I mean, we've got so many great sponsors. Tom Lundstrom RV. We've got Valley Professionals. We've got uh, Costa Construction. We've got Merenstein. We've got all kinds of uh, uh, people that support our run. Westex Extrication Tools, just a lot of great ones. I can't mention them all right now because I don't have the list in front of me. But I know I'm leaving out a bunch. They're going to be mad at me. But
All positive energy, man. I love it.
yeah,
I love
it's
it,
it,
man.
it's a great thing, and like I said, our runs are open to everybody. Please come on out, see what we're about. Uh, Again, I appreciate what you're doing, man, getting the word out. Uh, Thank you for that. And again, www.firehogs.org, and you can go to each chapter, see what events we got coming up. But it's been a great ride, and I hopefully got a lot more rides ahead of me. My wife still likes riding it, and in her 60s, and I'll be doing it till I can't ride anymore. Then I'm gonna get a trike.
Right on, man. Well, I'm honored to talk to you. My hat's off to you guys for all the good that you do, and it just sounds like a blast. And
Yeah.
I'll be seeing you down there.
Hey,
All right.
thanks, Rusty. I look forward to. I'm gonna hold you to that now. I'll
I
send you
will.
some tickets.
Yeah. Talk to Frankie and have him twist my arm, maybe too. You know what I mean?
All right, brother. Take care, man. Ride safe, and look forward to seeing you.